topic of grit, learning, and achievement is important to research because it is very crucial on understanding how children learn to adapt to changes in curriculum that becomes progressively more difficult, as it correlates with academic achievement and how far a student goes in learning the material and staying focused enough to do well on homework and exams. It's important to know that attention span has to be included in research, as grit is persistence. But without passion, there is no persistence. Children's behavior is dominated by intellectual curiosity with sparks of passion. From 2024 research on grit and academics resilience during the COVID-19 pandemic, there was findings of the COVID-19 pandemic not being linked to grit with the decrease in performance. This research intended to debunk a popular theory that students with less grit perform worse than students with. This research backed up the main claim that grit is not an issue in students and that it should stop being taught in schools. The pandemic can explain 77% of the variance in academic resilience. A survey measuring grit coming from the same students did not have significant predictive power over performance changes. 2025 research on how grit and resilience masks systemic racism, providing a recent study from 2025 done in the STEM field about how grit is a racist ideology, where students of color affected by systemic racism persisting in the educational realm through ideologies that further punished students for the broken system's doings. This research was supported with qualitative data, which code switching is celebrated as resilience in the STEM field. Back in 2018, there was a study on fostering grit and the implications of what it could improve. The findings determined that grittier individuals are more likely to engage in attention-absorbing activities and to seek meaning and purpose, whereas the highlights of this research was that little is known about how school cultures help or hinder grit, and showing the overall gray area of what the effects of performance structure aspects of school culture on grit and grades had on students. Therefore, as research followed in 2020 with a psychometric evaluation of the short grit scale, giving a closer look at its factor, structure, and reliability, and then following 2025, where grit was a moderator of the association between cognitive abilities and STEM achievements in high school. Using a short grit scale, the researchers found that the scale does not work as cleanly as expected. Some questions did not measure grit consistently. The two parts of grit, perseverance of effort and consistency of interests, did not always behave like one single trait. Surveys that were conducted were confusing. They did not strongly measure what they were supposed to measure, or accurately measure a person's true level of grit. The research focused in 2025 suggested that while certain personality traits may influence STEM achievements, others may be related to preferences and the choice to pursue STEM fields, highlighting complex roles that the personality in STEM education plays. Therefore, it's important to ask three distinct questions. Is preference and the choice to pursue any field you want a substitute for what grit should be and what should be taught? And two, does the ideology grit attack or further punish students that are of color, that have learned to be resilient in school? And three, instead of grit being the determining factor for a student's success, why not environment